Well, good morning, Rug Vault. This is going to be some exclusive content that we will not share in any other group. And this is a very simple repair that you can do for your clients. And I'm getting ready to go through it now. And so we're going to show you step by step how you do this repair so that you can add this into your repertoire of what you offer to your clients. So let me see. I'll have to turn the video around somehow. Okay, so what's really important is that we take our thread, and we don't want it too long because it gets in our way. We don't want it too short because then we have to thread our needle much more often. And so typically what I do is I grab the end of the thread, I bring it out one full arm's length, and then one more full arm's length, and then I love my little snippers. You snip that off, and now we are going to thread our needle. Oh, let's see, where is my... Right here, here we go. So here's my needle threader. And we push that, get my light on here. We push that through the needle's eye, just like, oh, that didn't do it. Oh. There it is. So we push that through the needle's eye. Then we push this through the opening. And then we pull this out and the needle's threaded. Now you take the small end here, grab it, and you double your yarn by pulling all the way back until these are very close to even, like that. I hope you can see that where they're going to come together very evenly. And in fact, what I normally do is I'm just going to make those even. Snip that off and make sure that we've got a nice even. I hope you can see that. And then we just make sure we've got it nice and tight. So we pull that. Now what we need to do is, for lubrication, we are going to run this through beeswax. So the idea here is that you put the yarn onto the beeswax and then actually pull it through, coating your thread with the beeswax. Now what this does is it helps to lubricate your thread, helps it go through your materials faster, easier, and not only that, it helps keep your twin threads, they kind of meld as one thread, okay? So you're not going to have a lot of separation with your double thread there. So now what I've got, and I've even seen people lubricate their needle by putting their needle into the wax and get it So that can be done. So now we're off to doing what we call an invisible stitch to begin to secure this cloth backing to the rug, hiding the fringe. Okay, so this is obviously a hand-knotted rug, and just the fringe you can see, you know, right here, the fringe is really eaten up. And then as we go down, you see how the fringe is really, really nice, right? But they really don't like this area that is kind of withered away. So what we are being paid to do here is that we're going to fold this fringe back. We're going to sew a pocket over this fringe, and we're going to attach it to the back. So the very first thing you need to do is to take a steam iron and just make sure that you get that to where it trained to where it wants to lay down. That's a very important thing, is to get this all trained. Okay, we'll comb that out a little bit. There we go. And then we fold this over. One other great way after you iron this is to take regular old straight pins like this with the little end on them, and you hold this back and you secure that. And then as we stitch, we're going to remove those. So I'll continue in a moment. Okay, one of the most important things is that we never use nylon thread. It is always polyester or cotton thread. You have to be careful of that. And then we are using a color that if it's actually seen at all through the front, it's not going to show much. You see the matching of that green color, and actually we'll turn this over and show you that that's going to be a real good match, just in case it shows from the front, which it probably will not, because we're going to use a hidden stitch, which is what we're going to talk about now. Okay, now we are going to demonstrate the hidden stitch, which means that you won't ever see this stitch from the front of the rug, but you will see the stitching on the back. And so I'm going to try to demonstrate this. If I can't get it done by myself, I'm going to have somebody else videotape me doing this. But this is our needle and thread right here. Okay, so the very first thing you want to do is make sure that everything is tucked in and that none of this white fabric is showing through from the front. So now I'm going to insert my needle from the back and go all the way through to the front. Okay, you see that? Now we're going to pull this through until we get close to the end of our piece of thread, which is right there. So we're having about that much stick out. Okay, I hope you can see that. So now what we want to do is go right back in where we came out on this side of the rug. We want to go right back in very close to the same area, push it through. This is called a locking stitch. So what this does, an invisible locking stitch. So what this does is it grabs material and holds it together. Now we do the same thing over again. back down through. I think I'm going to need my pliers. There we go. Okay, so with the pliers, I'm going to grab this and really push this down through, because this is this is a Chinese. It's a fairly thick rug. Now we've got one stitch in. We're going to go right back in through where we came out of the front. And we're going to push this up through. Now what this particular stitch is going to do, I'm going to do this one more time, back and forth through the rug. What this does is it just secures it, and it makes sure that your stitching is not going to come out. So my instructor has always told me to start strong and finish strong. That's what we're doing here. And that means that you really lock in that stitch. You don't want that moving. Very bad thing for it to come apart whenever you've been paid by someone to repair it. So again, needle up through. I pull that needle out. Now I have locked my stitch 3 times. Okay. So now I'm on the back, as you can see. So this is what it actually looks like. There it is. What it actually looks like. So now I'm going to take my shears, my trimmers. Oh, I hope you can see that. There we go. And we're just going to trim off that very end. Now, what I'm going to do, see if I can. Okay, so this stitch has been locked in. Now what I'm going to do is make sure that all of those areas, all of the side of the fringe is hidden. Okay, so now I'm going to take a stab about right there through the rug and bring it out. Tighten it up. Now see, this is what you're going to see on the back of the rug all around my pocket. And I have to make sure that this is really going to hide this fringe. I don't want that coming out. We have to make sure that we're hiding that fringe well. Now, on this side, we enter right about where we come up, and we want to come up through that felt fabric, just like that. Pull it tight. Okay. Now that's tight. Now we push this over and we do it again. Pliers. Push through. We're going to retrieve this on the other end. I'll come up through here in a sec. There it is. So we push it through. Pull it through. And then you pull your stitch tight. Okay, and we are well on our way. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to pass this invisible stitch up and down through this fabric, usually 3 times. And why we do that is that it does exactly what it says. It's a securing stitch. So it's going to hold your work in to the rug. So there's, I cut one of my buttons. Okay, there's the second pass in and out, and I'm gonna go one more. So down through, come on, there we go. So one more pass down through, that makes my 3rd stitch. And now we're going to do another invisible stitch right up to the same area. And now that stitch is very secure. You can pull on that, you can tug on that, and it's going to be there. So now what I do is I trim off my excess. Throw it down. So, all right. So again, as a professional, we want to have nice, even stitches. We want it to look finished and professional. So we pick, you know, an amount of space that we're going to cover with this first stitch here, and then we're going to use it basically throughout. Okay, so we go here. Okay, now I'm just going to pull that snug, go to the other side, and we're going to do this invisible stitch. So we're going to bring it right in where we just stitched, right where that came through. We're going to pull this through, and if you can see on the front, that stitch just disappears, and you really never, you really never see it. And then so again, try to keep the same length, try to keep things square, professional looking. Okay, so now pull it tight, make it invisible from the front, come back to where you started. Okay, nice and tight. In, nice and tight, invisible. Okay, pull it nice and tight, and so on. So we're going to do all the way around this rug on both sides, and I'll have to look up the amount of money that I'm charging for this. I don't remember right offhand what I charged the lady for this, but I'll look it up and make it a part of the video before we finish all of this. But what I want you folks to understand is that this does not take a high skill level. It takes a high patience level. Okay, now we're going to get rid of that pin, and we're going to figure out what that's caught on. What in the free world? Oh, somehow it got wrapped around that sucker. I'll edit some of this out, hopefully. Okay, now this freaking tag is driving. I should have. Usually I cut the son of a bitch off before I start repairs. Okay, so this. And then, okay, now again, we make this invisible to the front. Bring it through. Tight to the very corner. Pull that tight. Make it invisible. Push it through to the back. And now we're going to start going this direction. Try to keep the stitches even, spaced, you know, just even amounts. It really helps. Okay, see, this is how we do our invisible stitches. We go right back as close as possible to the place where we brought the needle out. No, that didn't work so well. That's where it goes. Okay, so we catch the backing fabric here, and we go about the same amount through the rug. Tight, right back through as close to the same spot as you can get. Let's see, I'm going to move that just a little bit further that way. There we go. Okay, pull it tight. Make your next stitch. Tight. Push that right through where you just came. Needs to go up just a smidge. Nope, not that far. Too far. That'll work. Okay. And then pull it tight. Okay, so hopefully you guys are understanding how to do this and how really simple it is. It's a great add-on. Sometimes the fringe is not in shape where it's, you know, they don't want it trimmed. In this kind of rug, it's integral to the foundation of the rug, so we certainly don't want to just go cutting off the fringe. So we have options to give our clients, and it's so important not only to give your client options, but to understand what options there are. And this is certainly one of them. It's something that you can help your clients and help your bottom line all at the same time. So we will continue a little bit with this, show you the ending and all of that kind of stuff. So, but just wanted to make sure that you get the basics of this. Rob Decker once again. Hope you guys got some value out of this, and pick up a needle and thread. It's not going to hurt you at all, and it will really help your bottom line and aid you in becoming the go-to guy for rugs in your area. It's the most important position that you can put yourself in your area. Thanks so much. Hello, Rob Decker here again, and I want to show you the finished product with this Chinese rug, where we folded the fringe back and we sewed it to the backing so that it's not going to show. So I'm going to show you that right now, and the stitching and all that. It's very easy. It's something you guys can do. I charged her $100 bill to do it. You know, it's not difficult. It takes you a little bit of fabric, a little bit of know-how, you know, that's it. Okay, so as you can see, we've got, I tried to make them fairly uniform stitches. Okay, so we've got those all the way across. And my fabric wasn't quite long enough, and so I just put in a little bitty piece here. But what this is gonna do, if we flip this over, Now, when you stand on this rug and you're walking across it, you're not going to see the fringe. That was what the customer wanted. Okay, so now we're going to look at the other side, which is just the same. See, all we did is just folded that back and then sew a pocket with an invisible stitch all the way along it and hold this fringe back. And again, the fabric was just a little short, so I made just a little, you know, and if you peek in here, we want to peek in there, we can even see the fringe, you know. You can even see that, but it's not going to work its way out or anything. It's just nice and covered up. And this, again, this is what the customer wanted, and it's going to look great. Okay, so here is a nice shot from the top of the rug. And even if we get down here, you know, now one thing you got to understand is that, you know, we try to use a similar color thread as what we feel like we're going to be coming through, okay? Just to make sure that it stays invisible. But if you look down this edge, you're really not going to detect any thread. We don't wrap it around the edge or anything like that. That's why we call it an invisible stitch, because it winds up that you don't see it from the front, and that's what we are looking for. Okay, so about this rug, we have one more thing that we need to discuss. Everything that I did to this rug is undoable, you understand. I have not done anything but add something to the rug that can be taken away. Very important. If she would have wanted me to cut the fringe off, I would have counseled her and told her we don't want to do that because it's an integral part of the rug, and we would have to do things totally different and really seal those edges. It's just not a good idea. If you don't like the fringe, do something non-destructive to the rug, because you never know. The next owner of that rug, if there is going to be one, may want it in its natural state. And so that's not up to you to decide. That's for the client and the person that they sell it to. So above all, try to do non-destructive things to the rugs, you know, to improve the rug, not to do anything that can't be undone. Very important concept. Keep that in mind when you do any of these type of repairs.